right now on 5 on your side at 10.
The heat is here to stay along with the humidity. Plus, I'll time out when we may see a few showers and storms this weekend.
The hot weather didn't stop people this Juneteenth. How St. Louis celebrated. A lifelong journey of self-discovery reaches a milestone.
I just want people to know that being transgender is wonderful.
A story of resilience and a life-changing decision to find happiness. But first, a pharmacy shooting in Rolla that sent one person to the hospital and sent police on a high-speed chase. Tonight, a Rolla, Missouri man is behind bars for firing an AR-style rifle inside that pharmacy. Good evening. I'm Mike Bush. Kelly Jackson has the night off. Police say the suspect opened fire this morning at Sinks Pharmacy. That's about a mile and a half from Missouri University of Science and Technology. New tonight, 5 on your side's Robert Townsend just spoke to Rolla's police chief about the chaos and the suspect's capture.
It was a wild police pursuit on typically quiet rural roads in Rolla, Missouri. Multiple law enforcement officers hot on the trail of a gunman they say opened fire inside Sinks Pharmacy.
He walked in, had an AR, and he immediately went behind the counter.
Police Chief Sean Fagan says shortly after 10 Wednesday morning, the 41-year-old man first demanded drugs from employees.
He wanted some kind of Oxycontin, I think is what he asked for, Suboxone, and Gabapentin. When they didn't get him to him fast enough, he opened fire. Police say the man fired several shots. One bullet hit a 53-year-old pharmacy technician who was working in the drive-thru in her thigh. Emergency responders flew her to a hospital in Columbia with non-life-threatening injuries.
I'm glad she's okay. It could have been a lot worse.
Investigators say the gunman stormed out of the pharmacy's front door with drugs, dashed through some bushes, and hopped in this black Impala that he parked a block away. Police say the man led officers on a chase through the college town. About 30 minutes after the shooting at the pharmacy, the crazy chase finally ended after police say an officer ran the fleeing suspect off the road into a ditch. Police officers, sheriff's deputies, and state troopers swarmed the suspect's car after he wrecked out here in this area. They tell us he immediately put his hands up and surrendered.
It was justified. That's all he said.
9 employees and several customers were inside the family-owned pharmacy at the time.
The rounds that he fired and how many employees were in that store, it's just a miracle that nobody else got hurt. Thank God.
In Rolla, Robert Townsend, 5 on your side.
The suspect remains in the Phelps County Jail. He's expected to face charges tomorrow. In the meantime, the pharmacy's president says she's saddened to hear about the incident, but fortunate her employee is okay. A Eureka man is dead, and his wife is in the hospital after a man attacked them with a knife at a rest stop in Nebraska. This happened around 7 a.m. today near Grand Island off Interstate 80. Investigators say 72-year-old Gary Weaver was killed and his wife Mary hospitalized after a man from Ohio assaulted them inside their RV. Investigators suspect robbery as a motive. The suspect fled but was later apprehended by police. A dramatic rescue unfolded in Winchester just outside of Baldwin this afternoon. A construction worker found himself trapped chest deep in a collapsed trench while crews were performing foundation work alongside a house on Hillcrest Boulevard. It was a 2-hour operation by first responders to free the man.
It was a best case scenario. Sometimes, these calls don't turn out like we'd like them to, but at this point, this one seems like it's going to work out great. Everybody was relieved, and I'm sure the patient was relieved to get out of there for sure.
The man went to Mercy Hospital for further evaluation. After he was out, crews secured the area to prevent another collapse. Well, we're slogging through a sweltering spring, and we're only going to get hotter from here. Yes, Jim Castillo joins us now with that very hot weather first forecast.
Yeah, hi, Mike. So tomorrow, the official arrival of the summer solstice, and that happens in the late afternoon. Today was 93, yesterday 88. So that was the day that we were below 90, and now we're soaring back into the 90s. 87's the average, and 105 the record high. Now, we did have some rain around Kansas City and northern Missouri, maybe a really quick spot shower Phelps County and Cascade County, but the rest of us dry. and 86 still in St. Louis at this hour. So that real field temperature, we're in the 70s from Washington, Missouri through Eureka, but 80s all across the metro. And the weather headlines, it's hot, humid, heat builds as we head into the weekend, but there is a really good rain chance now as we get into late Saturday night and into Sunday. I'll time that out coming up in Maine weather in just a few minutes.
Throughout the day, the bi-state has been buzzing with Juneteenth celebrations. Just hours ago, a lively street festival took over Washington Avenue in downtown St. Louis. 5 on Your Side's Brent Solomon delves deeper into the meaning behind the celebration.
You don't have to be a pro to get information. Welcome to the 5th annual House of Soul Juneteenth Festival on Washington Avenue downtown.
We've literally shut down the street.
Making way for food, fun, and fellowship.
It's cool to see all these people get together, and the food is great too.
These 23-year-olds are among the black business owners invited to showcase their products. They too are enjoying this moment.
We're continuously, making these steps, striving for equality, celebrating one another.
Mayor Tashara Jones stopping by to issue a proclamation.
It is my honor to declare today as House of Soul Juneteenth Day.
Juneteenth recognizes June 19th of 1865, the day in Galveston, Texas, when all slaves learned they were actually free.
And we need to acknowledge that it occurred. We need to and bring lessons to it so that it does not and will not happen in the contemporary form.
Dr. Richard Marks is the Assistant Vice President for Diversity at St. Louis University. He wants Juneteenth to be a day of celebration, but also of reflection and remembrance.
If it wasn't for those innovators and for those inventors who were able to do things that can progress a country forward, we wouldn't have these things today.
It's why people of all backgrounds and ages are assembled in one place on a federal holiday rooted in the hope of what's possible when we unite.
Everyone's connected, it's like one big community.
Reason enough for dancing in the street. Brent Solomon, 5 on Your Side.
Dr. Marks says while these celebrations should continue, so should community engagement on eliminating economic and healthcare disparities and police brutality. During Pride Month, voices of the LGBTQ+ community are celebrated. One St. Louis woman has been an advocate for transgender people and the community as a whole. 5 on Your Side's Laura Barczewski sat down with Jordan Braxton as she shares a very personal part of her journey.
She's a woman who's been a constant in the St. Louis LGBTQ+ community.
I love helping people, and I'm always a fighter. I'm a fighter and believer in people's rights. I've been here advocating for HIV and STI prevention and trans rights and intersex rights for the last, 37 years.
Jordan Elizabeth Braxton has been an inspiration and guiding light for transgender people in St. Louis and beyond.
Being transgender is not a choice. It's who I am. It's who I was born to be.
Jordan says her sex assigned at birth was male, and she didn't feel right identifying as a man.
I knew from a very young age. I told my family, I'm not a boy, I'm a girl, but they ignored it.
At that point in her life, loved ones called her Leon and knew her as a gay man. She went through decades of her life struggling with her gender identity.
It's called dysphoria, and I had dysphoria really bad.
One thing that helped her be her true self was performing in drag as Dieta Pepsi and competing in pageants. She was crowned Miss Gay Missouri in 1991. Now she's hitting the pageant stage again for the first time in more than 20 years.
One of the things I'm most proud of is being Miss Trans Great Plains. And so I'm going to Milwaukee November 7th to the 10th to compete for Miss Trans USA, but I'm going to compete as Jordan, not as Dieta.
One day her friends took her to the doctor to get Botox, but when the doctor came into the room, she said, I'm actually here to put you on a diet and we need to do some blood work. Those results changed her life forever.
We found out that my chromosomes, some of them are actually XXY, which are female chromosomes. I said, oh, and she said, and some of your hormones are also female. So she said, technically, you are a pseudohermaphrodite, or in clinicians' term, intersex.
When she was 53, she started taking estrogen.
The moment that I took that first estrogen pill, everything became normal and everything felt right.
And at 55, she made the jump to transition.
I woke up one morning and said, you know what, I'm gonna transition today. I put on hair, makeup, went to work, told them my name was Jordan, and guess what happened? No one batted an eye.
So at 62 years old, she took the final step in her transition journey, surgery.
It's called vaginoplasty. So it took me 5 years because I had some medical conditions that prevented that. I had some heart issues.
For that surgery, she had to see Dr. Lauren Schechter in Chicago at Rush University Medical Center.
I got everything prepared, went to Chicago, had surgery, had my aftercare in Chicago, and then the rest is history. So it's been a year and a few months since I've had my surgery.
Dr. Schechter says gender-affirming care is safe, effective, medically necessary, and truly life-saving.
We know what happens when people with severe dysphoria don't receive care. Self-harm, worsening anxiety, worsening depression, worsening gender dysphoria.
He says listening to people can go a long way in dispelling hatred and misinformation.
Listening to people like Miss Braxton tell her story and listen to what she's saying and listen to how important and how impactful surgery was for her.
If you could tell someone who maybe doesn't understand what it means to be trans, what would you say to them?
Trans is beautiful. I have trans joy. I love being, it's just who I am. It's not anything different. Just like I ask people all the time, so when you ask me what it's like to be trans, I ask you what it's like to be a female. What's it like for you to be straight? What's it like for you to be gay? It's no different. It's just who I am. And people should not be judged on their genitalia. It should be judged by their character and their heart and how they help people.
Reporting in St. Louis, Laura Barczewski, 5 on your side.
And you can see Jordan compete in the Miss Trans America competition in Milwaukee this November. Baby wipes make life a little easier, but tonight Consumer Reports reveals that convenience may come with health concerns depending on which brand you buy. From Baldwin to Paris, how diver Tyler Downs is now heading to another Olympics.
It's not about the outcome, of course, it's about the journey and, making it fun. That's what it's all about.
What he learned from the last Olympics and what he looks forward to this time.
Well, that heat and humidity ramped up today, and it stays with us through the weekend. Plus, our timeout when you may need your umbrella.